What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Trucker Gene, where we help you develop your inner trucker. In today's video, I'm going to cover something that I typically try not to cover, and that is cons or negative stuff about trucking, because I personally believe there's a bunch of negative, woe is me, I hate this, I hate that stuff on YouTube. And I mean, it's endless content for that. So I try to do the opposite and I try to highlight more of the positive stuff. But with anything in life, there are negatives to trucking. I don't want to harp on the negatives, but I do want to highlight a few things that, of course, aren't the greatest aspects of trucking. So if this video is helpful for you, as always, drop a comment, hit that like button, and let me know how these videos are helping you guys out. Thank you for all the support, and let's get right into it. All right, number one on the list, we have low initial pay. Yes, guys, we all know this. This isn't a news flash to anybody that's getting into trucking. Your pay initially will not be that great. It is what it is. It's the cost of doing business. I've never heard of a company or an organization that rewards inexperience. You're gonna have to start from the bottom. But the bottom for trucking is a lot higher than the bottom for a lot of other jobs. So for entry-level drivers, you're typically looking at a range of between 38,000 and about maybe 50 to 55,000 for entry-level drivers. So let me just say a caveat. This is not including food service, because with food service, if you are willing to do long hours and strenuous work, they will compensate you for that. Typically, food service does have higher turnover rates, so they will actually pay you more to get into that field right out of CDL school. So minus food service and any other one-off exceptions, generally speaking, your entry-level pay will not be that great, but it is temporary, and you will gain the experience you need to be able to make more money on a very steady pace, faster than probably any other career out there. I want to get that out the way first and foremost. Let's move on to some of the less known issues that you may have getting into trucking. So number two is actually high stress. That's something you're gonna have to mentally prepare yourself for when you're getting into the truck for the first time, especially when you start driving on your own, because there's a lot of aspects that you have no idea what you're doing when you're a rookie driver. You're gonna have to figure out how to trip plan, how to park, how to back, what are the better routes to take, communicating with your dispatcher. Those are things that's gonna come in time. Going through those things is gonna be a learning curve when you're first getting into it, and it's going to be pretty stressful at first, but that is part of trucking. You got to go through that ugly, gritty part of it, but it doesn't last that long. I'd say within a few months you'll start to get a rhythm and a routine down, but the initial starting period can be stressful. So you need to get into that mindset knowing, hey, when I get started with this, there are going to be times where I might be blocking traffic on both ends, and people are going to be mad and going to be blowing a horn at me because I'm struggling to back. You got to just charge it to the game and just keep it pushing. You're going to be confused and not knowing a lot of different things, and you're going to have to ask people a ton of questions. Some people will be receptive and help you out. Others will look at you like a nuisance, and that's just the way it is. I'm telling you from firsthand experience, but these are all temporal situations, and they don't last nearly as long as you think. All right, guys, sorry if I sound stuffy or if my eyes are watering or anything. I got really bad seasonal allergies, and I get them every year. I hate it. I don't recommend. I don't know why, out of all the things, I got cursed with this, but I'm gonna push through so you can get this content. So number three, you have no say-so on where you'll end up. None. Zero. I'm telling you, I had 2 years experience, and I remember like it was yesterday. I went to CRC with my wife, and we were team driving, and I thought because I had 2 years of experience, I would be able to tell them, oh yeah, I'm not going here, I'm not going there. I told them specifically, I'll run anywhere except two places: New Jersey, New York. Those are the only places I don't want to go. I'll even compromise and do all the other little places around it, like Boston and Philly and all that stuff like that. But those specific places, I said I didn't want to go to. You can't make this stuff up. They sent me to Newark, New Jersey on our first run. When I tell you I was pissed having to maneuver around those little Jersey barriers, if you don't know what those are, I'll put a picture up so you can get an idea. It's like, come on, man. But I had to get through it. I had to push through, and I had to make sure I had kept my cool despite the fact I was frustrated because I didn't want to be there. But that's just the way it is. When you're new at a company or you have no experience, Do not think you're going to go in there and tell them what you're going to do, because you're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what somebody else didn't want, or you're going to get what they need you to do, not what you want to do. And it's just the way it is. Just go ahead and just knock it out. And that way, when you gain that experience, when you do navigate through those uncomfortable situations, you'll be able to actually go to another company. You'll have a little more leverage and experience to tell somebody, hey, I would prefer to do this versus that, or et cetera, et cetera. But don't have that notion, don't have that attitude going in the door as a new driver, because you're not going to do nothing but piss yourself off and you don't get it. You're going to go to places that are whack. It is what it is. If you go into it that attitude and know that, it won't be as bad. But it is a con, because hey, who wants to be in the middle of South Dakota or something like that? Of course, nobody, right? But that's just the way it is. You're gonna go to all type of different places and just take it as a new experience. If you make it worse than what it really is, you're gonna make the problem bigger than what it needs to be. But with patience, you'll be able to have more of a say-so in the future. Something else that was really hard for me, number 4, is the fatigue and the long hours. I was in the Army, so I thought working 14 hours a day wouldn't be that bad. And this is my opinion. When you drive on road trips and it's like, oh yeah, you can stop when you want to stop, and you'll just delay the time or whatever, it's not that bad. But when you know you have somewhat of a schedule to keep, man, it was kicking my behind. I was doing this number so many times, and I had to keep asking my trainer, can we pull over, because I'm not going to make it and all that, and he's getting frustrated with me. It was a little rough period with me being sleepy and whatnot, but it didn't last that long. I think I got a rhythm in about a week or two, and I was able to actually kind of stay awake for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, and it took some time, but that's to be expected. The average person doesn't work 70 hours. So if you get into it and you find yourself being sleepy or dragging, or you're taking forever at truck stops, you keep wanting to hit a rest area, you want to keep stopping, that's normal stuff. But you are going to have to get used to that fatigue and build your stamina up, because if you have a deadline, you're not going to be able to keep telling your dispatcher, oh, I overslept, or oh, I was tired, I couldn't do it. You are going to have to make sure that you start to build up to driving consistently 9, 10, 11 hours and making sure that you're utilizing the most of your clock. So entry-level drivers going into it is going to be an adjustment period of you not being used to have to kind of work that type of schedule, and it's going to feel more like jet lag. And mentally, you'll just get used to working 10 to 14 hours a day. It's just what it is. That's what trucking consists of. Do I like the hours? Absolutely, French toast not. But that's what I signed up to do. If you want to make good money going forward, to think that you're going to make a ton of money and work 40 hours is not going to happen. You're going to have to get used to the fact that you're going to have to work more than you're used to. There are trucking jobs out there that have a balance of hours and pay, but they're not that easy to come by, to be completely honest. So starting out, you will have to work long hours. You will be working that good 60, 70-hour work week, but it's more mental than it is anything else. So that is a con you'll have to overcome, but it is very doable to overcome. And honestly, this is probably the hardest challenge. Number 5, being away from family and being away from your home. I think that was the most difficult adjustment for most of the drivers that I've spoken to. It is a transitional period. I had to be honest with you. If you have a routine set up at the house, you're used to doing this at a certain time, you're used to seeing your family, you're used to seeing your wife, husband, or your kids, it is a different lifestyle that you're getting yourself into. And you will be away from home more times than you're probably used to. Now, is it as common to be away for 4 weeks at a time and things like that? No. Can it still happen? Yes. So I don't want you to get into the door thinking that you'll be home, every 2 or 3 days, because most likely, especially in training, you probably won't be. It will be a period of time where you will be away from your family for longer stretches, but the longer you stay in trucking, the more you'll be able to find situations that kind of go with your particular situation. So you have to be patient, though. When you first get into it, you will be away from your family, and you'll have to find ways to deal with that. I was a guy that I would FaceTime my wife a lot and call the kids and things like that. It's not easy, and I want to be transparent about that. And I'm going to cover all of this in an entirely separate video, because I think that needs its own video about being OTR, having kids, having a spouse, and how you balance it, and things I would recommend and how I got through it. So that video will be coming in the future. All right, everybody, I hope y'all found that video helpful for you. I gotta go lay it down. If you want a video for 5 pros for entry-level truck drivers, drop it down in the comments below. Thank you for all the support you guys give me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, y'all be blessed, stay safe, and it's Gene rolling out.